Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're tackling what has to be the absolute ultimate interior design dilemma for so many of us in the UK. You're standing in your living room, you're looking down at the floor, and you've got to make a huge choice. Do you go with the undeniable, rich warmth of a classic Persian rug, or do you lean into the clean, crisp lines of a modern one? I mean, it sounds like a totally simple choice at first, right? But when you're actually about to spend the money and bring it into your personal space, it becomes surprisingly complicated. And I know exactly what's going through your head right now because honestly, we all have the exact same anxieties. You're probably staring at your beautifully neutral walls or your completely reliable gray sofa, and you're thinking, okay, if I drop a heavily patterned Persian rug in here, is it going to completely overpower the room? Is it going to look way too busy? Or on the flip side, if I buy a super sleek modern rug, is it just going to sit there and feel totally flat and lifeless? You want to tie the whole room together, not completely ruin the aesthetic you've worked so hard to build.
Section 1. Defining the styles. What exactly are we comparing here?
Let's kick things off with the Persian rug. Now, a Persian rug isn't just some dusty historical artifact. It's totally defined by intricate details, sweeping curved patterns, and these deeply layered tones. Think warm reds, deep navy blues, soft golds, terracotta. These rugs literally bring movement to a floor. If you've got a room filled with plain furniture, neutral carpets, or just bare wooden floors, a Persian rug steps in and adds this incredibly intentional layer of depth. It brings a sense of history, a story, that instantly makes any room feel much more collected and lived in.
Now, flip that completely on its head. Enter the modern rug. These are built from the ground up for contemporary interiors. Instead of intricate floral borders, they rely on abstract shapes, really precise geometric lines, and carefully sculpted textures. They're usually far less ornate. The real magic of a modern rug is that its highly controlled design provides a calm, quiet foundation. It creates breathing space. And let's be real, if you're living in a compact UK flat where visual real estate is super precious, that clean look makes the whole room feel so much more open and balanced.
Section 2. The showdown. Look versus feeling.
Okay, let's really dive into this. When you look at the Persian style, it's all about that busy, rich impact. It brings heritage patterns and incredibly warm colors. Visually, it practically shouts to anyone walking in, hey, this space is rich, it's layered, and it's been collected over a lifetime. On the other hand, you have the quiet structural presence of the modern style. Clean lines, abstract shapes. It subtly says this space is calm, simple, and perfectly balanced. Basically, one gives the eye a journey to travel on, and the other gives the eye a place to rest.
Honestly, if you take literally only one thing away from this entire explainer, let it be this golden rule of thumb. Persian rugs create the mood, while modern rugs support the mood. This is the ultimate paradigm shift, guys. Once you wrap your head around this single idea, the whole rug buying process suddenly simplifies itself. You just have to figure out what job you actually need the rug to do.
And this breakdown really hits the nail on the head. Let's talk about the main risks involved here, because that's usually where things go wrong. Because Persian rugs are the star of the show and generate the mood, the biggest risk is that they can completely overpower a room that already has a ton going on. Conversely, because modern rugs are there to support the mood, the main risk is that if your room is completely bare and a bit cold, the rug might just feel way too plain and fail to add any real spark to the space. Section 3, Room by Room Guide. Applying the rule of thumb. Let's start with the living room, arguably the most important rug in the whole house, right? The strategy here is actually super straightforward. If your living room furniture is fairly plain, maybe you've got a simple neutral sofa and bare floors, a Persian rug brings that missing warmth and immediately becomes your focal point. But if your living room already features bold artwork, heavy patterned curtains, or a really colorful statement sofa, a modern rug is absolutely your best friend. It calms everything down and stops the room from feeling completely chaotic. Either way, just make sure the rug is large enough to properly anchor your seating area. Okay, moving into the bedroom. Bedrooms are all about softness and calm. A Persian rug is absolutely perfect here. If you've got simple white bedding, it adds this incredible intimacy and warmth, making the room feel way less like a plain sleeping box. But, and this is a big but, if your bedroom already features really strong decorative wallpaper, a soft modern rug works beautifully to keep the space feeling light and quiet. Just a quick word of warning though, be really careful with dark, heavy Persian rugs in small bedrooms that don't get much light. They can kind of act like a black hole, absorbing what little light you have and making the space feel much smaller. Now, the hallway. We have to talk practicality here. I mean, we're dealing with UK weather. Mud,
wet shoes, discarded school bags, and sideways rain. Persian patterns are absolute lifesavers in a hallway because their intricate designs totally hide the fact that someone just walked straight in without wiping their boots. However, if you're dealing with a really narrow corridor, a modern runner with linear patterns can create this amazing optical illusion that actually stretches and elongates the space. Whatever route you go down, just stay far away from pale, delicate plain rugs. They literally will not survive real life.
Finally, the dining room. So the absolute crucial point here is that physical practicality is just as important as aesthetics. You need a rug that is large enough so that your chairs don't constantly fall off the edge when you pull them out. Persian patterns, again, absolutely brilliant for disguising small crumbs from daily meals or, that inevitable splash of Sunday roast gravy. But a modern low-pile rug might technically be easier to clean, and it makes sliding heavy dining chairs back and forth a whole lot smoother.
Section 4. Myth-busting. Breaking design rules.
So here's a bit of a provocative question for you. Can a Persian rug actually work in a highly modern home? If you live in a sleek, contemporary space with glass tables and minimalist lines, are you just banned from buying a traditional ornate rug? The answer is a massive, resounding yes. And it all comes down to the power of contrast. This is actually a huge designer secret. If you have a very minimal, new-build flat, it can honestly sometimes feel a little cold, a bit gray, or almost like you're living in a sterile furniture showroom. Dropping a rich, historic Persian rug into that exact space provides some much-needed contrast. It adds instant story, incredible texture, and personality to what would otherwise be a very simple layout.
Let's flip the script. We know Persian rugs bring the heat, but are modern rugs just doomed to always feel a little, flat and clinical? Can a modern rug actually feel warm and full of character?
Well, what's really interesting is how modern rugs solve this exact problem. The answer is yes, they absolutely can be warm, but they generate their warmth entirely through physical texture rather than your traditional printed patterns. You aren't relying on floral prints here. Instead, you're looking for sculpted wool, raised detailing, and beautiful, warm, neutral tones. A highly textured modern rug gives you that clean, contemporary look without sacrificing an ounce of the cozy, inviting personality your room desperately needs.
Section 5. Making your final choice. A simple framework.
All right, let's bring it all together into a final, simple framework to help you make your decision. Step 1. Literally just stand in your room and ask yourself, what is the space missing? Is it craving warmth or is it desperate for calm? Step 2. Based on that answer, choose your rug's role. Does it need to be the focal point that creates the mood or the support system that calms the mood? And step 3. If you do all this and you are still completely stuck between the two extremes, consider a classic or transitional rug. They blend Persian-inspired details with much softer modern color palettes. It is a brilliant, totally adaptable fallback for almost any UK home. And that wraps up our explainer. But before we go, I want to leave you with this one empowering question to ask yourself right now. What is your room missing? Take a good look around your living space. Once you identify whether your room is crying out for the rich, focal energy of a Persian design or the quiet, supportive calm of a modern aesthetic, the choice is going to become incredibly clear. Thanks for joining me on this styling journey, and I really hope you have fun designing your space.